Meeting will come to order. The minutes aren't ready yet, so we'll do those at the next meeting.
Sounds like a good idea.
First thing on the agenda. Plum Island Grill and the inspections that the board did down there. Who would like to start?
So you can give the board a summary of everything, okay. So, what we did was, for the board's records, we did, the ongoing violations that had started as of August 13th that we received a complaint. We also did pull back up to January 1st of this year, 2019, just to show all the inspections that have been conducted in 2019. But as of August 13th, 2019, the Board of Health received a complaint regarding the unsanitary conditions of the kitchen at Plum Island Grill. Based on the inspection conducted, the inspection revealed unsanitary conditions throughout the entire kitchen, outside the premises, sheds, and walk-in coolers. In addition, the sheds were unlocked and the doors were wide open, which showed that there was food being stored and thrown all throughout the two storage units. The abundance of food, flour, sugar, everything was literally just thrown into these. There was no first in, first out. There was no, the Board of Health was unaware that these sheds were even being used. Back in May of May 22nd, 2019, which was a re-inspection from all the ongoing violations that were found on May 21st, 2019. Mr. Broadberry, the owner of the property, of the food establishment, signed saying that those sheds were only to be used for decorations only. So we were unaware that, that's why these were written up in August 13th. We were unaware that these were being used as food storage units. They are completely regular sheds. They are not in any way to be used as food storage. The front side of the sheds had three upright, the one shed that was in the front had three upright freezers. Two were household and one was a commercial. Very unsanitary conditions. The fronts of them, the insides, they were deplorable. You'll see the photos to show that. When I went out on August 13th, I couldn't even see how they were being powered because of all the food thrown in front of it. The owner had stated, or sorry, the person in charge, who was the bar manager, stated that some were plugged in by electrical and some were plugged in by an extension cord. So I furthered that information to the building inspector to let him know if that was safe to begin with. It was discussed with the bar manager because of the fact that when I went in and asked during the inspection who was in charge, everybody in the kitchen stated that nobody was in charge. There was a bunch of young kids working there, one young chef, and she said she was not in charge. So we had nobody ServSafe certified or a person in charge even on premises there. The bar manager said she would be the person in charge. So I went over everything with her, and she had understood with the violations that we found in the unsanitary conditions, it was not safe to keep her open or keep the establishment open. At that time, I stated to Shannon, her name was Shannon, and I had stated to her she had a couple of options. I actually gave her three options, and the first one was either the Board of Health would close her down, and then there'd be a red sign on the door, and that wouldn't be good for their patrons. They wouldn't quite like that. Or they could voluntarily shut down, and I wouldn't care what they put. If they want to put that they're replacing an air conditioner, whatever they want to put, that they could do that to save them some publicity regarding that. The third was if she didn't feel comfortable with either one of those, then if they really felt that these violations were not existing, then allow their patrons to do a volunteer, complimentary walkthrough of the kitchen right now. And she stated she did not want that. They would volunteer. She got Francis on the phone. He was out of the country. He had agreed with her, and she signed that they would voluntarily close down, gave her my cell phone number, and said, this way I can accommodate, if whenever you are ready to reopen, you text me or call me, and I will go out there and re-inspect when you're ready. So that was that. On August, let's see, so that would have been, that was a Tuesday, so that was, hold on, let me get my notes, sorry. So on August 15th, I got a text from the owner, Francis, stating that he was still not ready. He still had some cleaning to do, and that he'd be ready at sometime on Friday. I texted back and stated that Friday would be okay. However, I do work Fridays at a totally different job, and therefore I would not be available till after 4, and I would need to check with the chairman to make sure that it's okay for me to go back in and re-inspect. So basically, I got out about 3:30, 3:45. I texted him and said I'd come right over. I went right over, went through things, stated that I felt comfortable, that it was safe enough now for the patrons to be able to eat there, but I would do a full, thorough, more inspection because he still had some more things to correct, but the food at that point I felt was safe to eat. So he stated, I stated I'd be back on Monday. He stated that he would rather me give him till Tuesday because Monday was his day off and they didn't open till 5, and that Tuesday, it would be better if I could come Tuesday at some point. I had agreed with him to accommodate him once again. I said we'll come out on Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon, he texted me and said it was his day off and that if I could, any way that rather than, he doesn't have a lot of days off, if I could accommodate earlier than at the 7:15. He stated that our office was open until 7:15. I would want to bring myself and the inspector back to be all on the same page, and that 7:15 it would have to stay. So then at 7:15 on August 20th, and even though the inspection report did say August 19th, it's because I thought we were doing the 19th being that Monday when he asked to do the Tuesday. Unfortunately, my date on my head was August 19th, but he'll agree to that. The inspection was conducted on August 20th, even though you referenced the inspection report stating August 19th. There were several violations that still existed. The violations were noted. Now at this time, Mr. Broadberry was there, and when we went in, he greeted us. We were coming, we went in. His chef was cooking, and so at that point, when we literally went in, I said, we don't need to inspect right there, we'll stay out of her way rather than interrupt. We went around, went through, saw everything. Virginia started instantly checking temperatures. I was taking photos of everything, which again will reflect on the August 19th report, showing all the photos of all the ongoing violations that still existed. We then went out into the shed, and at that point, he said, "Be careful, the wires are live." They just they just switched them over from the section cord to live wires. I told him we'd bring that up to the building inspector to make sure that was the code. But at this time, we still had to do some homework on if those refrigerators were even allowable in the shed. But no food was to be stored in it, no dry food. The outdoor area that we cited them on with the debris, and the walk-in cooler that had a huge gap that it's going to be infested with rodents if not by having food in these sheds. The sheds are not prepared to have food. He agreed on all that. Virginia had asked him about, why we never inspected these sheds in the past. They were always padlocked, which refers to the inspection back in May, which he signed saying they were only using the sheds for operations. The ongoing unsanitary conditions were noted and photos were taken on that evening. We went back to our car, wrote the report, had Mr. Broadberry come back out to the backyard to go over it with him, away from patrons and customers. Then we proceeded to schedule the next appointment. He had asked if we could do earlier that Tuesday, and I stated that we could accommodate the following Tuesday earlier in the day on that date because at that time I thought we weren't going to have to close. I figured one of us would win, but after what's been going on since then, we decided to have the new report inspector, the health agent director, go out there and do a full inspection. I have his photos and his report, and in his report and photos, many of the violations were further corrected from the last two sets of violations However, on the report, it does show he's still got violations regarding equipment and utensils, physical facilities, he needs to clean his pizza ovens, clean his guards on the outside walk-ins, remove tape from storage racks. Let's see, he has to fix the hole in his freezers, walk-in freezer where rodents can go in. And so I have his full report too, and along with his photos also. And so at this time, I gave the board a summary of his ongoing violations along with, as a health director, the recommendations for his ongoing violations, which are the same violations that were found in January and in May, and where it seems like it appears to be every few months. Once we get him back into the track, it falls back again every few months. So possibly a standard operating procedure to keep this ongoing cleanliness and sanitary conditions. And therefore, the recommendations are in your packet showing what I would recommend to the board. Also, there was nobody certified or person in charge, which they could designate a person in charge, but there wasn't even that in the kitchen on that first original complaint date.
Okay. Also, I got ahead of myself. I want to set a couple of ground rules before we go any further. All we're going to discuss is the Plum Island Grill inspection reports and public items regarding the public health that have to do with restaurants. There will be no discussion, no mention of any personnel records or problems. Okay. So, recommendations.
Yeah, I gave you a recommendation. I'd be happy to read them. So after just revisiting just the last, basically four inspections from January 30th, May 21st, May 22nd, August 13th, August 20th, and then August 27th, regarding all the same violations ongoing. The recommendations that I would recommend is possibly at this time, until further notice, having the owner of the property, the owner of the establishment not only being ServSafe certified himself to understand the proper procedures for some sanitary conditions, but having a full-time or an employee on premises at all times of operations of ServSafe, ChokeSafe, and allergy awareness, which he's supposed to be having a ChokeSafe at all times anyways. And I didn't mean to skip through there, but that's one of my recommendations. The other recommendations would be to have a professional cleaner, the documentation, and the board to determine how often to make sure that this place is staying in sanitary conditions. And hire an independent licensed food consultant to inspect as the board desires. The floors must be replaced throughout the kitchen and bar area with cleanable approved non-porous material. There's many areas, he patched places here and there, and the photos will show you. Many places have just wood, and it's very greasy, very slippery, and it's not cleanable surfaces. So a timeline on that, which we've already given them timelines on, right? Yep. And we have not had that done yet. So I think that should be more enforced. Then the no food, no refrigerator, nothing in those outdoor storage sheds. They're not in compliance for storages. And household freezers, those two household freezers that are not in good conditions, not holding the right temperatures. The food in there was so overpacked that the food was so defrosted, it's not holding the correct temperatures. It's supposed to be commercial freezers. The walk-in cooler needs to be repaired. It leaks. It has a big 5-gallon bucket, but that could be from condensation because the floor in the walk-in is broken, so it's sagging. So you could stick your arms right up in through, and the photos will show that you could see that. to keep the rodents out, and possibly that would keep the temperatures at the correct temperatures. The shelvings on the racks and the dishwashers, so the shelvings he did, they were flaking off into the food, and that the food that we stated that was no covers was the big pots of, and the photos will show, the big pots of clam chowder and some other type of unidentified food, and that nobody seemed to know what it was that day, and also another type of broth. And you could see the rusty racks and the stuff with no covers. So every time they slide a cover or something, all the rust would go into these open containers. So at this time, according to the new report inspector, he did spray paint those, but it's a temporary fix. He said that it will still go and flake, and maybe possibly replacing those with the new updated coated ones, so that you know, he doesn't keep having this problem. The dishwasher racks were, you can see the photos too, were so caked on with debris that you wouldn't want clean dishes to go onto those. So those would be another recommendation on the time frame of when this can be corrected. The hand washing sink, as the photo shows also, is so rusted and flaky, and it had a lot of debris and filth around it. When you're washing your hands, when you're touching those, there's no way you're not recontaminating your hands. Either a new faucet, wire brush, I don't know how to fix it, but something needs to be done there also to make sure that it stays clean. And then just the outdoor premises, he's got a lot going on out there, a lot of weeds overgrown, a lot of thrown like milk bottles and trash, and then again with a rodent issue, he's got probably about 15 small gas tanks that are just kind of propane tanks that are just thrown to the side, and some oil drums, and it really needs a good cleaning out there to keep from harboring of rodents. And those would be my recommendations.
Francis, would you like to
That's not Francis.
take a seat and we can talk
I'm
about that?
not Francis.
You're not Francis, okay.
I would point out that nobody notified him. He wasn't invited to the meeting.
So that's not true. I sent an email to both of his emails, and the IT person said it did show receipt, so he did get notified. And he said, that's when he sent the formal complaint in right after he got that from us.
Can I get your name for the record?
Sure. Michael Page, P-A-I-G-E.
So, and again, we courtesy told him about it with both of his emails, and he responded on another email regarding the formal complaint on those, so he did receive those emails. However, that was a courtesy thing. This violation, I mean, you know, the board has the right to.
The meeting was called on Tuesday of this week, for today, 48 hours notice. That's when it was posted.
No, we posted it last Thursday.
And that's when we notified him.
Because what I saw was, at least posting online, I thought it was.
No, it was posted Thursday at like 3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. We posted it ourselves officially. Yes.
Okay, I'll have to
Yeah.
look at that.
Okay.
And that's when you notified Francis
I notified him a few days before that.
that the meeting was.
Oh,
going-
no, it would have been that day, because we sent him the copy of the agenda too,
Yeah.
yes,
That the meeting was going to be today.
yes. Yeah, yeah, how did you know the meeting was today, may I ask?
I'm sorry?
How did you know the meeting?
Just to the grapevine.
Oh, okay, but you're his attorney?
Yes.
Okay, just wondering, okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Then, without his input, leaves us no choice but to come up with detailed instructions on what we expect him to do with his restaurant. A timeline to do it.
Well, my concern is the health of the public,
Exactly.
obviously. And, you know, and I have in the past recommended my friends and family to go to the Plum Island Grill, and in good conscience. Now, I certainly cannot recommend my friends and family, and I am safe certified, and this is just giving me really some real bad feelings, guilt. So we need to do something to protect the public, obviously. I mean, he has a good product, but he's just not presenting it in the right way, so we need to do something here, obviously.
I think we'll put detailed instructions down. If you're representing Francis, how about Mr. Fryer, is he involved?
He's a landlord.
The landlord?
Yeah.
No interest in the restaurant?
No.
Okay. I think we just sit down and
So that's what I was
make a
thinking.
list and a timeline, and
Mhm.
you might remind Francis he's had his one freebie.
A freebie?
Yeah,
I saw-
the next time he needs to be closed, it won't be voluntarily. We will placard the door.
He's got to address this. This is
I'm sorry?
serious. He must address this. This is the safety of the public. Not only the safety of the public, it's his reputation, so he needs to address it.
Okay.
It's really serious, you know, and you're his attorney. It's your duty to bring this to his attention.
He's quite aware of it. I mean, he's been there for the inspections.
Okay, I'm an attorney too, and it's your ethical duty to step up to the plate and make sure that you bring this home to him.
Are you referring, my ethical duty, are you referring to
Well,
the
both.
rules of professional conduct, or where are you finding that ethical
Whatever
duty
way you
lies?
take it, whatever way you want to take it, I think we have a duty to the public, as I have a duty to the public, to make sure that if they're going to go and eat in a place, that they can be assured that they're not going to be sick when they go out of the door. So that's what I want to bring home to you. So
And-
I want to make sure that we know what's going on here. So Francis needs to make sure that he understands where we're coming from. This is not a personal agenda against him.
So my recommendations, Beth, on this is if the board agrees to all these, if you want to give a timeline for each of these, then we can certify Mr. Bradbury a letter showing that this is his timeline, this is what we're going to go by, and that this is what we expect as the rest of the violations. Because again, the violations as it stands are better, not 100%, but better. Some of them will take longer to correct, like there's floors and things. So if we set certain timelines, and once again, it's not getting back there again, because every 3 months, it seems like we're going back down again.
Set the,
Do you want to go over each number and kind of see, randomly?
start with the critical issues.
The latest inspection, the re-inspection by the Newbury Port inspector didn't find any critical.
So I do have his report, and that is not incorrect information. And Mr. Bradbury did sign it. But, so the violations he found, he said, are ongoing. He still needed to clean the wall, pizza oven, clean fan guards and the outside walk-in, remove tape from storage rack, physical facility, equipment, utensils, and all that. And he has to replace and repair the floor of the walk-ins. So that is true that there is still ongoing violations, which I have noted on my recommendations for these violations to keep going ongoing.
None of them are critical issues,
I
though.
didn't say they were critical, they're still violations.
Right, but, and I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Elaine Byrne.
No, to your left.
I'm Steve Fram, I'm the chairman of the board.
Okay, yeah, Mr. Frim, I think you mentioned critical issues, and that's why I said
He
that.
has had many critical throughout, this is
Right,
the
but
first
the
time.
most recent
Have
inspection,
all the critical issues been corrected?
Well,
if I may approach, I mean, I have a copy of.
I have, we have it right here.
And it says 0 critical issues.
Right, but he still has violations, so you said he had no violations, he still
No, I
has.
didn't, I said no critical issues, because that's what I
asked
got.
for critical.
The violations are still existing on these, so regardless, that's what,
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
so regardless, is these violations here that we're recommending are not critical violations, they're ongoing violations.
Okay.
So these are ongoing that need to be
So
corrected.
there are no more critical
Not at this
issues?
time, no.
Okay.
No?
But I have a question. If we
I just said
have,
every 3 months.
if we're saying that the rack have rust flaking off into the food.
So he spray painted it to correct it this
Okay.
time. So it's a
So-
temporary fix.
So that's a temporary fix, okay.
Newburyport inspector thought they were taken care of. And Fran explained that he took them apart, he wide brushed them, and then he
Yeah.
spray painted them.
And did the new report inspector tell Mr. Broderick that he highly recommended to get in the plastic new coated ones?
Did the Newburyport
Yeah.
inform Mr. Brodberry
Yeah.
that in the past, the Newburyport inspector advised Mr. Brodberry to get new ones?
Yes.
I don't recall.
Okay, so he did call me and I spoke to him within like not even an hour ago, and that is his recommendation. He said he did correct it, so he wrote that he corrected it as it, but he still recommends him to replace those. And again, this is something the board can order for correction, or we can wait until they rust off and flake again. I mean,
No.
we're just saying that those are ongoing violations.
Okay, based on your experience, I'd like the two of you to number these 1 through 10 in the order in which we should get them repaired,
Okay.
and then we'll arrive at a timeframe.
Yeah, I would think number 1 or number 9, absolutely. Oh yeah, 1, 2, 9. Actually, they're all, to me, they're all important, but so it's hard to take.
Definitely should have a safe serve certified person on the premises at all times.
So the code reads that they could, or a designated person in charge, but they need to have some, the board, it says or per Board of Health, needing it more often. They need somebody there full time. Nobody in there was in charge, nobody knew what they were doing on that. There's no question that the standard operating procedures were not being conducted.
And my understanding at least is that Shannon is safe certified.
No, she is not. She told me that herself. She said she's tip safe, which, she's a bar manager, and I said.
She's what?
A tip safe?
Oh, maybe that's what the
Yeah,
confusion
so
is.
that's a bar, that's to do with bar, nothing, she's not a food handler or certified in food.
No.
Okay?
I assume you'll be talking to Francis.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Within, what's today, Wednesday?
Thursday.
Thursday. Today's Thursday already.
We have the Monday holiday.
Yeah,
By the close of business Tuesday, we have a long day Tuesday, we'll give them some extra time. The board would like a list of everybody in his employ who is food serve safe
Wait.
certified, choke safe certified, and what was the other one?
Allergy?
Allergy awareness. So we
Can I
already
ask
have-
if the board puts that in writing?
So yes, but we do already have that on record, Steve, of who he gave them to me, and I asked him to confirm. So there's only one of each, there's one chef that's safe certified, and one
We
separate
do
gentleman
have that.
who's,
I don't know if he's
So
there
safe.
anymore or not.
yeah, we don't know.
It doesn't matter, the state law says somebody has to be there when the restaurant's open.
For joke safe,
It's
yes.
choke safe.
Yeah.
So he needs to get some people certified, is my guess.
I just asked that the board puts its request in writing, rather than, otherwise things will be lost in translation. I don't like to play the game of
I
operator.
thought you were here representing him.
Oh, I am, but I don't want to rely on what you guys tell me, my scribbling it down and then me trying to tell it. Something's going to be lost, so, I
We'll
just,
send him something. but
okay, it just makes more
You gotta
sense.
give him a heads up.
Yeah, I'm not trying to give you a hard time,
yeah,
I just don't want there to be any mistakes.
yeah, that's reasonable. We'll put it in.
All right, he'll get it in writing.
So what are we putting in writing?
Timeline?
Yeah, the timeline and the most
Send
important
a
issue.
certified letter with a return receipt.
And you want this all done before Tuesday for him to
There's
get
no
his
way it's
signature?
gonna be done
Right.
till Tuesday because his lawyer won't talk to him about it.
Okay, so,
I'm happy to,
Send it out either today or first thing Monday morning. Give him till the close of business on Thursday to get us a list in writing of everybody that is Choke safe, serve safe, and what was the third one?
Allergy awareness.
Allergy awareness.
Okay, because yes, when he filed for his food permit, he gave us a list of those people. We have that on file. I just don't wanna, I don't wanna drag it on.
In the letter, make sure he understands that choke safe is required whenever the restaurant is open. All shifts, so one person is not gonna make it. Let's start with that. That'll give us some time to sit down and decide what order we want these other things and what a reasonable timeline is to have them accomplished.
Well, I think that the cleaning is really important.
Mhm.
I think we discussed this just recently about having the, that
Well,
is
we'll
definitely.
get them a letter out
So we're
sometime.
not, you wanna keep going with this, right? We don't wanna keep continuing this during the
No.
meeting. I'd say let's get this over with.
Let's do it.
I mean, I don't know why we do, have them one little step at a time. I say this is your checklist, let's go by this, let's work together, let's get this cleaned up, get done, we're out.
Yeah,
Number 1 through 10, okay in that order?
Yeah,
I think,
I mean.
was it 9? should
And
be
I would
okay.
think that if you wanna go through each one of them that I already addressed, the board, give the board, you see it.
I'm gonna make number 9 number 1.
Chairman,
You have a question?
point of order, can you just read that off for the public so we know what we're talking about?
Yes.
We're talking about serve safe, choke safe,
That's number
allergy
9.
awareness certified on the premises at all times during hours of operation.
So that's gonna be number 1?
That's number 1.
Not
There you go.
All right, so number 1 is now the serve safe on that, okay. Okay,
Everything else is, 1
So,
becomes
yeah.
2, 2 becomes 3.
sure, that's fine.
Okay.
Oh, I gotta give me a copy, give it back to her, right back to her. Cause I showed her one. Hold on, let me go make a copy first.
You wanna make a, I'll do this one, don't we, Louise?
I
want to tell. Tracy, I want to
And so outdoor premises will remain
You're good.
in 10.
Hold on a minute, we just gave our copy away, we just
Oh,
have one
sorry.
copy.
Hold on.
That's okay, we're just gonna get a copy.
Yeah.
No, it's for Alva, she's making a copy, we can wait 2 minutes to make another copy. I swear we already had one. Okay, sorry.
What's a reasonable
Yeah,
timeline for this?
That is up to the board.
I'm looking for a recommendation.
On which one?
I would say, for serve safe, and for number 1.
Oh, I would think right away.
immediately.
The serve safe certification, the choke safe's immediately. In the allergy awareness, do they already have an allergy awareness person on file?
No, it's expired.
It's expired, so that should be right away too.
All 3 of those already.
Yeah, the serve safe certified
I do have one.
person, that may take a little time, because they have to take a class.
Yeah.
So you could give them 30 days
They
or
gotta
whatever.
pass the test. They have to pass.
Yeah, so you could give like a 30-day on that, but the choke safe and the allergy awareness is literally, yeah, a
Well,
video
the
of
choke
a
safe.
half an hour or whatever, but it's something that is required. And his has expired, so they need to have that.
Okay. So in the letter, tell them that number 1 has a 48-hour window on it, on a list.
All right. Okay, and then what? Oh, you got, so you come back with a list of what, the ones that are certified that we already know?
List of names of people, and if they get
Well,
certified.
we need
Yeah.
copies of those.
But, and we already do, supposedly he's submitted, and, you know, they have to submit a certification when they apply, so we have that, so we know who's certified. The problem is,
I don't
she's
even know
not
if they
working.
still work there.
Well, we do, she's a chef, but she has Monday, Tuesdays off, he told us this. So they don't have one on premises at all times, they have one periodically, so that would be the thing, is,
Well, we need a list so that he's covered from open to close.
a list of what? I'm not following you.
Choke safe, serve safe, choke safe, and
Well, we need
allergy.
We
copies
already-
of the certifications
That's
of
what
all
I'm-
these
that's
people.
what we're
Right, but they don't have them.
Right, so they need to.
We only have one,
copies.
he told us he has one person.
Well, I think what we're saying is he needs more.
Right, but we're gonna give him 48 hours to get more, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
No,
if choke
well-
safe, if it's a simple matter of sitting down watching a half an hour
I don't know
video.
Yeah,
what
but
the
you
shows
can't
say.
have them do it in 48 hours.
Oh, no, I see,
It's not
half an hour.
reasonable.
I see what you're saying. And I apologize, I thought you were saying that you want him to give a submit who's certified. You're not saying you want us to submit, we already have that.
Yeah.
You're saying you want them to be certified within 48 hours.
You're happy, you think that the list of people we have.
We have one person.
One person.
Yes, she was there that day.
Then we don't have it.
I don't, the choke, I don't know if the kids are on, I don't know. who
Right,
he is.
so the certified person, the one person, she was there that night, so we know she's there. But she wasn't there another night because she had her day off. So we need more than one
She
person.
serves safe.
She serves safe.
Well, he needs to provide us with a list of employees that are there based on his operating hours. If they get certifications, he can enclose copies of their certificates.
Okay, so if we get the same one person that's certified, are we gonna require additional certifications?
I think so.
So we should do that too at the same point here.
Right. It's gonna have to.
So how long do you wanna give them on that?
You're gonna have to give them longer than 48 hours.
30 days.
Yeah.
For the serve safe, 30 days serve safe. The choke safe and allergy awareness should not give 30 days.
No, that's-
That, he can take it that day.
This is what I said, that's 48 hours. That gives them
I'm
time
gonna-
to,
40 hours for the choke.
Okay. 48 hours to be
Serve
served.
safe 30.
I mean, reasonably, I'd say at least a week 48 hours would require a friend to,
To turn the computer on and
not
take
just
it.
friend, but also other employees too.
Yeah, it's 15, 20 minutes, turn the computer on and take the certification. What if somebody chokes or something when nobody's in the restaurant?
if he wants to close for a couple of days till he gets people certified, state law says someone will be on the premises.
I'm just thinking logistically, it's pretty hard to, notify employees that they have 48 hours to go online, do this thing, figure out how they're gonna pay for it, to do it, and then get certified. I mean, I'm just
As the
thinking,
owner, he could stay on premises.
It's a half an hour on a computer. And if he wants to open, according to state law, if he wants to be legally open, he's got to have them. And he should have had them a long time ago, and he didn't. So he's got 48 hours on those from the receipt of our letter.
Okay, so he's here in the morning. How does that work, receipt of the letter? How does that work, receipt of the letter?
You're gonna send out certified with a
Right,
return
is he
receipt?
gonna-
So we'll
No,
know.
I did that with the emails.
Hmm?
I did that with the emails.
But
Just
this
saying.
one, you're gonna send certified.
Send
So
it
he'll get
out,
it?
send it out snail mail with a return receipt.
I just asked him saying he didn't get it, that's why.
You'll have to sign for it.
What's that?
Return receipt, you'll have to sign for it.
Yeah, we'll see if he does. Okay.
Um,
Number 2?
Yeah, professional cleaning documentation. Give them 2 weeks to find a company that can come in on a regular basis.
Yeah, but what's the regular, how often are you gonna, how often?
Weekly or bi-weekly, or monthly as determined by us.
Yeah, but which one? How
For a
often?
start, weekly.
Okay.
Anybody have a problem with weekly?
But you're gonna give him 2 weeks or a month?
2 weeks to
2 weeks to contract?
to search out and hire whoever he wants.
And then is he going to contact us or the health agent or how
Well,
do we?
Oh, so he should be submitting documentation, right?
Yeah, he should be submitting invoices.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we need to
We-
figure that out.
Okay.
Okay, hire an independent licensed food consultant to inspect.
Now, what is that?
Um,
exactly?
So that is used a lot. We just had a big coalition meeting with all the surrounding towns, and they were stating that when they have ongoing violations of unsanitary conditions or any other conditions like the floors and the that they have the owner hire a independent licensed food consultant, which is almost like an independent inspector to go out and find out the violations and have him correct and things like that. And it's done a lot if there's ongoing violations like these.
And same thing, I think 2 weeks is long enough for him to hire somebody.
And how often is that person going to consult with him?
Again, I would start weekly and let him work. If he's maintaining a place, he can work to bi-weekly or monthly.
We're gonna get a lot of kickback from this. Okay.
Kitchen floor. 30 days reasonable.
This is gonna be an expense.
No, I was thinking when you originally passed
On
on.
the floor.
But it is, however, we've been asking him since, I want to say
No,
June.
this has been going on.
It's been going on all the
seems-
time.
Yeah, it seems to me that years. Didn't
Okay,
we know
I
a
know
couple of
Jane.
years ago, we went in there about the floors?
Yeah, when I closed it because of the fire, the Ansel system going off,
Sorry.
floor needed to be done, that was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was a real bad situation there for those
So
floors.
here, okay, so we cited them back on January 30th, that all the floors needed to be repaired or replaced in sections. But at that time, we didn't give him a timeline,
Mhm.
so you'd want to do it now.
Yeah,
He was aware of it back in January and signed it.
okay.
What's a reasonable
So,
timeline,
yeah.
21 days, 3 weeks?
I don't,
Just looking for your opinion.
I would think fairness would be 30 to
Yeah.
60 days.
At least, because this is
30
disruptive.
days.
I hope you can appreciate there would be no way that I would be able to communicate this to Francis by scribbling it down,
Right,
not accurately anyways.
We'll get it to him.
So number 5 is just, that's a basic.
Immediate.
yeah, we don't have to say much about that,
Immediate.
yeah.
And same with number 6. So number 6, no household freezer refrigeration is allowed, that's immediately. And no stored food refrigerators or freezers in those sheds, it's not correct condition. So those will be immediately, right?
The walk-in cooler, that's a major repair that's required.
Yeah, it is, but it's actually a bad one though, I mean,
That one should be critical.
it should be critical, it should have been critical. I mean, you can stick your hands right in it.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a company out there to fix that floor, I would think.
2 weeks reasonable? 2 weeks. Shelving racks.
And dishwasher.
So that's up to the board right now, he has spray painted those metal racks, so he is correct, they are working okay. Speaking with Frank, who stated he did tell him he highly recommends putting those coated ones. It's
To be
gonna-
re-inspected as needed, as we feel necessary.
Yeah, the dishwasher racks should absolutely be replaced, there's no question, those were filthy. But the shelving in the racks, I agree, if it starts flaking, then I'd enforce that.
Then
So
say
why
the
don't-
dishwasher racks have to be replaced immediately.
So why don't you just say all shelving and racks to be replaced as needed, and the dishwasher rack to be replaced? How
Okay.
about that?
Yeah,
Hand wash,
so the hand washing sink, as you can see in the photos, are,
that should have been buried, yeah.
yeah, so I don't know how to repaint that, it's almost like the whole unit needs replacing. The handles are so caked on, like, so all the chrome on them has peeled off and they're all rusted, but now it's got like caked on. If you washed your hands, you wouldn't wanna touch the faucets to shut it off,
He's gotta get a plumber, so 30 days.
to replace the,
Whatever.
There was a picture of that in there.
yeah, you'll see
I
those.
saw it. And we'll be looking for the plumbing permit.
30 days.
And Francis Stowe claims, he just texted me that he didn't receive notice, the email.
And you didn't tell him as his attorney? Because I mean, you're here.
No, but I mean, I texted him to say that the Board of Health said that they emailed him twice last week with notice of today's
They
meeting.
did, both,
said-
and he responded on an email right after with the form of plate, so, I mean, I don't know why he'd give his, he'd be able to send, but he can't receive, and I put on there to send, and IT said it was delivered to him, so regardless, and
And you said that was sent on, what, the 21st?
I'd have to look back exactly, but it would have been that Thursday.
We can download the email.
Yeah, I mean, and I.
Yeah, you should have maybe put it in the file, just so it's there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's enough.
And the area around the restaurant needs to be cleaned. You might be able to tell them that message.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna communicate as much as I can, but,
Okay.
The area around the restaurant needs to be cleaned this weekend.
well, put it, please, if you could,
Yeah.
put it in writing and whatever the Board of
I'll
Health
do that.
wants, Fran will comply with. I'm not giving you a tough time, it's,
No.
Well, I'm not giving you one either, but he needs to get some of this information. You're taking notes, you're representing him. Tell him he's gotta clean up the surround around the restaurant.
right, but I'm not,
ASAP.
I'm not a messenger for the Board of Health.
Okay, so
Obviously.
outdoor premises to be cleaned and remove excessive debris. That's just gonna take a good day to get that place back
That's
together.
what Steve just said this
Oh.
weekend.
Well, it can't be this weekend, because we have to notify him now, so next weekend or whatever, 20, what do you wanna say, 48 hours?
24 hours after receipt.
I want to cross up this weekend.
And 24 hours doesn't seem, I mean, it just doesn't seem, it's not reasonable on its face to clean the outside in 24 hours.
There's a lot of trash and stuff that could be picked up, there was milk jugs that were all over, and there's milk spilled, it needs a good hosing down, you gotta get an infestation of rodents.
Yeah, you mentioned propane tanks, you mentioned an oil drum, I mean, how do you take care of that in 20, I mean,
Sanitize,
Been collecting every year.
sanitize and clean it, and have them more time.
what's the chance of him being able to hire someone, call someone, hire them, get them out there, and have them perform the cleanup in 24 hours? It's impossible.
Without you giving him a heads up, he might have trouble. But we're gonna give him 24 hours to clean it up.
I really hope that the Board of Health's files show that the same sort of,
So I
the
can.
same sort of requests are made of other restaurant owners in Newbury.
Sure, I can answer that. I don't think I've had a restaurant this bad, to be honest with you.
No, but I mean, simple things like serve safe certificates, I hope they're on
Oh,
file for other
yeah,
restaurants.
every one of them are. Yeah. Now, again, the Serve Safe certified that we have on file, she does work there. The code reads one person certified, and then they have to designate the person in charge, or the Board of Health can require, a Serve Safe certified on premises at all times. I do highly recommend the person to be certified at all times. Somebody needs to know what they're doing in there. So, because the Serve Safe certified person was not there, the person in charge, there was no person in charge. So I do really feel strongly as a health agent that whether it be Mr. Broadway himself or any of his other workers, when the chef has a day off, should be certified so they understand. And maybe they won't have this issue again because they'll understand the proper procedures and standard operating procedures if the cleanliness and it's.
Well, it sounds like that's what the law requires, right? One serve safe person on duty at all times.
Or the board can require more, and that's what we're discussing right now. Yep, I agree.
Choke safe is,
Yes, stroke
when
system.
the door's unlocked, choke save has to be there until the door gets locked.
Correct.
I mean, I'm not disputing anything.
Oh,
We have a motion to sit in.
I just take the minutes. Okay. Anything else?
No, I think this will get him in really good shape. And if he can keep it cleaned up and good, and he'll be good to go.
All right, and you might make a note at the bottom of your letter that the board will be inspecting him more often than what he might like.
Okay.
Also, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Steve, could I just ask a question, without getting into anything specific? In general, can you just describe for the public, what is the Board of Health's process for investigating complaints against an employee? Formally written
We
complaints?
refer that to the powers to be.
And who would that be?
That's your chairman.
Human Resources. And that's all I'm gonna say on it.
To Human Resources? Thank you.
Motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.